Hi, my name is Jonathan Neeley, and this is my wife Holly, and we have a story to tell. We had been married for 5 years when we found out that we were going to have our first child. We were in somewhat of a transition in between jobs and actually living in a camper at a park. But we were ready. We felt like this was God's will for us, is to have this baby and have this child and to raise it. I actually remember going to our first ultrasound. I remember her saying that when she saw what she saw, she said that for sure he is a boy.
Yeah, every appointment went well. I mean, we never were told anything was wrong. My blood pressure was always good. We just had the greatest reports. We made it all the way to 40 weeks, and actually I had to be induced. So we went in that morning expecting to bring him home that day.
And we checked in at 6 a.m., had all of our bags packed, had his first outfit, had all the essentials, probably too many. Man, I mean, really, giving birth is not that hard. You just knock it out of the park. It was time for Holly to have the baby, and I can only say that it's the craziest, most beautiful experience I've ever been through. To watch life being brought into the world is, I mean, there's no way to explain it. And I remember being so excited to meet him. There he was. There's my son, just taking his first breath of life. I took 1 trillion pictures of him when he first came out. He looked healthy. He looked great. We brought our family in. They got to hold him. We got to hold him. We just celebrated his life. Just really a great night. Probably one of the best nights of my life.
But true love is the burden that will carry.
That next morning, he was getting ready to go in and get circumcised. So the doctor had come in to get him, and Jonathan was actually able to take a shower. And so I was just in there, and the pediatrician came in real quick and said, your son's heart rate was a little bit elevated and he was looking a little pale. So we did a chest x-ray and we noticed that his heart's enlarged. But then he said, we're going to fly him to Children's because they have the technology to make sure that everything's okay. At that point, we were both a little bit unsure about what was happening.
I went and talked to the pediatrician, and he seemed fine. Everybody just seemed very, this is sort of normal, you know. But for us, we didn't know what normal was. We thought, you know, normal was having a baby and taking him home immediately, not flying in a helicopter with him. So they took Leeland immediately back to the neonatal intensive care unit there to do some tests on him. The lady told me it would take, should take no more than 30 minutes to run these tests and then have some news back for us. Well, it wasn't 30 minutes. It was actually more like an hour and a half before they came back. A very long hour and a half. So finally, someone comes in, pulls us into one of those family consultant rooms that you don't really ever want to be in. And she begins to explain to just Holly and I what has happened. She said our son was born with what is called hypo-plastic left heart syndrome. But all I remember is hearing that he was going to have to go through at least 3 open heart surgeries. The road to recovery is very long and very difficult, and that more than likely he will end up having a transplant. So when you hear those words, how do you swallow that? You know. Simply put, you know, hypoplastic left heart syndrome, if you think about the left side of the heart bringing oxygen to your entire body, and the right side of your heart going and getting that oxygen. It's, you know, the right side is also very important. The left side is even more important in the fact that your body cannot survive without it. And we started this road to not only learn more about what our son is going through and what he has and what he's been born with, but to try to help him through it And I remember one thing we prayed every night was, God, heal him, heal his body. We know you're capable of it. We know that you're the great physician, and we know that you can heal him. We know and believe you have that power. But if you choose to take him, and if you choose not to do so, we will love you no matter what. And we knew that it's a very good chance we would lose him. I remember, minute after minute, laying my hand on his chest that had not been cut yet, had not been damaged yet, and just asking God to heal him. And every time I was just waiting for that heart to be fixed. Well, the 10th day rolled around, and I remember them doing the very last echo that night, and I knew this was our last chance. This is God's last chance to heal him before he went to surgery. When they did the echo, the same thing showed up, underdeveloped left side of the heart. And it's frustrating when those prayers aren't answered, and you gotta wonder why. And I think you ultimately are going to ask why.
I still remember a day a man came in that we knew really well, and he just said one word or one sentence to me, and it changed everything from that point on. He looked at Leeland and he prayed with us, and he looked at me and he said, God must really trust you. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, he's given him to you, and God trusts you to take care of him. And I think as a mom, the nurturing, part comes in, and I'm a day away from having him, and I'm not holding him, I'm not feeding him, I'm not caring for him if he's in a bad place and I can't do anything. But what I got from that was I could love him and I could care for him, and ultimately he's God's son that I was adopting.
And so the next day was surgery day, and he had his first open heart surgery that was about an 8 or 9 hour surgery, and very, very complicated, very intense. A lot of things could go wrong. Of course, they had already given us all the statistics that didn't sound promising, and we sent him off to a surgeon and nurses and doctors that were going to try their very best to save his life. And they did. They saved his life. I think we both kind of understood hope a little bit differently. It wasn't an assurance that God was going to make everything work out, or it wasn't a conditional plan that if he allowed us to take him home, that we would continue to serve him, but that God would come near, and that hope was that he was there,